In 1922, a farmer in rural Germany found footsteps in the snow that were leading toward his farmhouse. But there was something more disturbing about them. There were no footsteps leading back out. Days later, 6 people inside that farmhouse were brutally murdered. After this incident happened, there was someone who continued feeding the farm animal, cooking and eating the food while murdered family bodies laid lifeline behind those walls. A small farm at the end of a dirt road in rural Bavaria, nearly 70 kilometers north of Munich, far enough from the nearest neighbor that you could live an entire life there and the world would barely notice, which is exactly what this family did. Andre Gruber had built his life on that land. His wife, Gasly, had spent decades beside him. Their daughter, Victoria, had been widowed only a few years into her marriage, raising 2 children alone. After Victoria's husband died, Victoria used to live with her parents, and somewhere along the way, the line between father and daughter had been crossed. The two had been involved in a sexual relationship for years. When Victoria gave birth to a son named Joseph in 1919, many villagers began to suspect that Andre Gruber himself was the child's real father. Because Carl Gabriel, who was the husband of Victoria, reportedly died during World War I in 1914. 6 months before the murder, the family made starting hearing strange noises coming from the attic. At night, she claimed she could hear footsteps moving slowly above her room. Over time, she got convinced something was wrong inside the house. She eventually told Andres about the noises, but he never took her seriously. Not long after that, the maid packed her bag and left the farm. Then in late February, Andre noticed footsteps emerging from the tree line, leading straight towards the farmhouse. But there was something more disturbing about them. There were no footsteps leading back out. Despite this, Andre never contacted the police. Instead, he mentioned the tracks to a neighbor almost casually, as if it was nothing serious. Days later, several house keys suddenly went missing. Then a newspaper appeared on the property, a Munich paper that nobody in the family subscribed to. At the same time, the strange noises coming from the attic continued, but Andre Gruber continued to ignore it. On March 31st, a new maid arrived at Hinterkaifeck farm. Her name was Maria, and it was her first day on the job. And like everyone else at the farm, she had no reason to believe that anything was wrong. But later at night, whoever had been hiding inside the farmhouse finally made their move. At some point during the evening, members of the family began entering the barn one by one. What drew them remains unknown. Perhaps a voice, or maybe a voice of a close one, but nobody till date ever found out. Andre Gruber entered first, then his wife Gasly, their daughter Victoria, and her 7-year-old little Gasly. The same barn where she had spent her childhood playing. What was more disturbing isn't how they got there, it's how quickly everything must have happened. 4 people were killed inside the barn, yet no one nearby seemed to hear anything. After killing 4 people in the barn, the killer entered the farmhouse. The maid Maria was spending her first night in the house. Before the night was over, she too had been killed. Only Joseph remained. The 2 years old boy was found dead in his coat. What happened after the murder only made the case more unsettling. For the next 4 days, someone continued moving through the farmhouse, cooking and eating meals, and sleeping only rooms away from the dead bodies. As the days passed, neighbors began noticing a small thing that felt unusual. The children were not coming to school, mailbox had started to piling up, and nobody had seen the family for days. Then on 4th April, neighbor went to the farm to check on the family. That was when they found the bodies. What followed became one of the largest investigations Germany had seen at the time. More than 100 suspects were questioned, neighbors, former workers, relatives. But despite the years of investigation, no one was ever charged for murders. The farmhouse itself was demolished the following year, and over the time, the dirt road leading to the Hinterkaifeck farm slowly disappeared beneath grass and forest. But the case never disappeared. More than a century later, the mystery remained unsolved. What do you think was behind it? Let me know in the comments below.